Hello everyone, welcome back to KROW Overwatch. Today we have Hyu2Hyu2, the #1 Roadhog player in Asia. Although Hog just got nerfed so it's impossible to one-shot using his hook, he can still remain a viable hero even against his counters Orisa and Sigma. Even in the highest tiers, Hyu2Hyu2 employs this playstyle to dominate even without the one-shot combo. The enemy team brought along Orisa and Ana, who are considered the best counters to Roadhog. Early on in the fight, both Hog's hook and breather gets countered by Orisa's skills, so Hyu2Hyu2 attempts to hook very frequently in order to get the cooldowns out of Orisa. He gets bombarded by CC, but that's why Kiriko is a must-pick with Hog. The great thing about his positioning is that he never goes past the first corner of the bridge. In this position, even if you get CC'd, you have a short enough distance to cover for survival, but if you go even a little bit more forward, the distance of safe cover becomes too far. Worst case scenario, you get split off into Mega where you can't be saved by your team. Orisa fortifies and pressures out the front line, and this is how you can counter Orisa with Hog. After waiting for the cooldown, Hyu2Hyu2 hooks and forces a javelin spin to block it. Orisa, having no sustain left, gets completely demolished, disappearing into oblivion. When you exhaust an enemy cooldown with an early hook, the Orisa has to use another ability in order to take space, at which time your cooldown should return to take away another one of Orisa's abilities, giving you the opening to burst her down freely. At the highest tiers, Orisa's never block the first hook with Fortify. Javelin Spin's cooldown is 7 seconds while Fortify is 12, so relatively speaking, countering hook with Javelin Spin is simply more efficient. After losing a fight, Hyu2Hyu2 takes the same approach into the corner, making sure not to overextend past the corner we talked about earlier. He walks over to the Orisa after grabbing a health pack. Orisa's E gets used first, then he hooks to pull out the Fortify. The ally Kiriko ults, reducing the cooldown for Hog, and after moving closer to the ledge, Hyu2Hyu2 drops the Orisa into the abyss. Our team immediately rushes through for the kills, but being at the highest tiers, the enemy DPS always makes sure to trade out and equalize. When an Orisa takes even a second to forget about Hog, she gets punished extremely easily. Chances are, Orisa won't be expecting a hook immediately after ulting. Recognizing Hyu2Hyu2's Roadhog as a problem, the enemies swap to Sigma and even a Zenyatta. After Orisa, you can play to exhaust cooldowns, but against Sigma, who's great at holding the front line, it makes life a bit more difficult. Keeping this in mind, it's time to switch to the Assassination Hog playstyle. When it's time for the enemies to push forward, he successfully lands a surprise hook from the side. We attempt a left click and ult combo, but we're forced back out due to Ana's anti. If you reuse the spot right away, it'll be easy for the enemies to react to, so Hyu2Hyu2 rotates back around for a spawn camp. After seeing the Zen, he goes for a hook, then closes the distance using breather for a point-blank kill. Wait, I don't remember it being this easy to one-shot without hook. He sees the Sojourn ping and attempts the hook, then immediately turns to check the Ana in Sigma. Hyu2Hyu2 pretends to move left, then suddenly changes direction to dodge, and manages to escape without feeding. You can tell how good his talent, game sense, and mechanical skill is looking at these plays. It's time for the enemies to Nanoblade, and their other ults are also going to be online as well. He hears the Nanoblade coming in. Wait, did I say Nanoblade? Just kidding. We stopped 2 ults, got the Genji, and with the Kiriko ult on the ground, it's time for the cleanup kills. He pulls the Sigma in with a backstep and turn hook. I think round 1 might already be over. The ally team comp is the same, and the enemies keep the counter comp from before. As a response to the carry as Hog, our allies are popping off in round 2, quickly taking the momentum on the neutral fight. We let the other players cap the point, and Hyu2Hyu2 retains the high ground position. He gets knocked down, so what else can you do other than to go back up the stairs? He pokes around for a little bit, and to his right, he spots the Ana being split off, so he walks over and immediately moves to focus her down with the team. Because we've taken control of the high ground first, the enemy Sigma has to contest the high ground while either the Tracer has to pressure the point or the Sojourn find a pick instead. But you never want to give entry to the high ground for free because oftentimes it's the key to winning the game. The enemy Torbjorn randomly runs onto point alone. Spotting the misplay, the team closes in for a free kill. He tries as much as possible to avoid frontlining and get value from the high ground control. Especially when enemies are playing to counter you, there's no need to commit until the enemies engage first. Because Sigma enters first, the backline becomes wide open for potential hooks, and in this scenario, there's absolutely no risk in attempting a long-range hook. If you land it, you get to carry, but if you don't, you have nothing to lose. To rush in with Kiriko ult, we engage while hugging the left wall for cover, and since we're in last fight territory, Hyu2Hyu2 makes sure to finish off the Sigma. I guess it was no use playing a counter composition against Hog. It's insane because the enemy tank is also around top 20 in Asia. This was Hyu2Hyu2, the world's #1 Roadhog, and at his peak, the #1 tank in Asia. He sent us more than enough replay codes, so we'll share some highlights to top it off. I'll be signing off early, but enjoy the show.